Bob, you know, Bob, yeah, I don't have a monitor here. It started at the first part. Well, it goes in and out.
Yes.
Goes on and off. It's just, I look at Vin's. I move over to the right side.
He goes to his right very well.
Yeah. Okay, what does it look like?
It is 2nd and 9 on the 36.
Tony, you still have a shot on this Redskins sideline. You got a shot at Grimm on the bench, and you still have Joe Washington, and they're kind of working on both. Maybe we ought to show Grimm. He has his leg up there. And right, and the other thing you better give us somewhere is turnovers, because that's why we don't have any scores. What do you got?
Okay, I'll go down.
How many?
I think it's 2-1.
Yeah.
2-1. And looking back over the first quarter, John, this graph kind of shows you that Washington with 44 yards and the Giants 12 rushing. And the Giants have been shut out in the first quarter passing.
Right, of course, the Giants, again, only had 55 last week, and the Redskins didn't even have a first down rushing.
2nd and 9 on the 36. Wilbur Jackson is hit by Byron Hunt as he crossed the 35-yard line and is dropped just about at the line of scrimmage. Those turnovers, the Giants had Billy Taylor fumble and Sims had a pass intercepted. The Washington turnover, John Riggins fumble that was recovered by Bill Courier. 3rd and 9 on the Washington 36. Any surprises? Anything that you're not looking for that has popped up?
Well, I thought that there may be some scoring in the first period, and again, I think both teams are starting to tire now, and maybe we'll go to running more.
Well, Theismann with Harmon in there to block, and Joe goes down the right side to Art Monk. No good. Wrestled by Bill Courier at about the 48-yard line.
That was that spread formation, or the Redskins call it a flood. They don't use a shotgun, but they use the same type of formation with the 5 men up in the line.
Why doesn't Joe use a shotgun?
Well, Joe Gibbs thinks that there's a period where the quarterback has to take his eyes off the defense to look at the snap from center, and he said he'd rather have him get the ball and be able to see the defense all the time.
Mike Connell punting from the Washington 25. Leon Bright standing on the Giant 23-yard line. And backing up is Bright, and he'll have to take it on the 14-yard line. He's pursued by Mike Clark. He got away from Clark. He gets away from 2 more, and he's finally pushed out of bounds by Mike Nelms, and there is a Washington player hurt on the sideline. And the player for Washington apparently suffering a wrist injury. It's Jeff Bostic, the center, and of course they could really be hurt if they lose his talent to touch over the ball. No score early in the second.
Oh. Yeah. I think somewhere. My monitor still goes out every time we start the play. Do they tell you that from here? Do they know that?
Gray is standing on the 40-yard line with helmet on.
Well, Gray's playing.
Yeah, he's on the Giant 40-yard line on the sideline. He's okay.
Gray didn't have it. Did he go in?
The Giants put it in play, 1st and 10 on their own 22-yard line. Sims trying to break a shutout. He's 0 for 5. Billy Taylor is in there now, along with Leon Perry. And Sims is brought down by Butts. Dave Butts takes him down at the 15-yard line.
Of course, he still didn't break that shutout, did he? He was trying to go to some type of short thing, and there was just no one open, and he just had to keep the ball and go to the ground with it.
Sims, of course, was sacked 6 times last week, and there's constant pressure on him in a young line that was broken down because of injury and has suffered yet another. We understand Tom Mulledy might have a possible fractured hand, and he's out. Johnny Perkins in motion to the right. And a release to Leon Perry. He's to the 20, still on his feet, and Kaufman brings him down at about the 23 or 24-yard line. Mel Kaufman is playing for Rich Malott. Malott is out with a sprained shoulder.
We talk about Sims having trouble getting started in the passing, but a lot of it has to do with the coverage. Lamar Parrish and Joe Lavender may be 2 of the best corners in this league. Tony Peters is a strong safety. He was a corner at one time, and he's a good cover man. So it's not so much Sims or the pass protection. Maybe the receivers just aren't really getting open.
3rd and 9 on the Giant 23 with Perkins in motion. And out of the shotgun, it's some pressure by Perry Brooks. And the pass is no good. And it was Johnny Perkins out there. And Perkins with Jarris White all over him.
I tell you, that has to be tough. Look at Sims. He's down there. That pressure, he's all right as he goes off, but that pressure came right up into his face. A lot of times it'll come from a side, but Brooks was on a stunt. He did a loop, and he broke free right up the middle. Sims had to step into him to throw the ball, and boom, that one had to hurt.
So Dave Jennings will be punting from his 10. And back again is Mike Nelms on the Washington 25-yard line. And it's coming! And he just did get it away. Nelms picks it up at the 30. Got away from Flowers. Got away from Reese. And down he goes. McGlasson, among others, bringing him down at the 25-yard line.
I tell you, that's where it can hurt with Nelms. It's not so much the hands, but the fact that you have a cast on the hand, that you have to catch the ball. Now watch him right here. He'll catch it against his body. See, instead of getting his hands out in front where you'd want him, he has to keep them in close to his body. You see what happened? That hit his left shoulder pad, but he got on it. That was a great shot. That was great.
Yeah, that's terrific. I think so.
Yeah, I had trouble with, this monitor for the whole thing. That's one of those things they put up. That's ice, I guess, pressure. I don't even know if anyone knows it.
Joe Washington had a big day last week when he caught 10 passes against Dallas. From the looks of things, we're not going to see Joe Washington for the rest of the day. A bad right ankle. It is 1st and 10 on the Washington 29-yard line. And Theismann looking left, then down the middle. And it is broken up by Brian Kelly again. That's the second time Kelly's been able to get a hand up on a Theismann pass.
And that's what Joe Theismann is thinking, Van. I'm sure that he has really had receivers open downfield. All he has to do is be able to get the ball past these linebackers. See, if he could get that ball past Kelly, he did have an open step there. And when he's had problems is when he's thrown him at the linebacker.
Garo Yepremian has just kicked a 44-yard field goal. Tampa Bay leading Kansas City 10-7, 13 left in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. Theismann with Harmon and Riggin. And he's going to try Harmon's number. And he gets across the 30. Leading the way was the rookie guard, Melvin Jones. Last time we saw it, New Orleans had 2 field goals to lead the Rams. Now they've gotten a touchdown, a 5-yard run by George Rogers, and they're singing in South Carolina as well as Bourbon Street. 13-0 New Orleans.
They haven't had much to sing about in a long time, have they, down there?
3rd and 7 on the Washington 32-yard line. Harmon and Metcalf now are in there behind Theismann. Under some pressure, but Theismann eludes 2 men and then throws incomplete to Harmon.
He had a lot of pressure right up the middle from Bill Neal. Neal was double-teamed. The rookie in the middle as the nose tackle was double-teamed. He broke both of them, and he was the man that put the pressure on Joe. Now, as Theismann's coming off here, I'm sure that he knows that, again, he has to get behind those linebackers.
And once again, Mike Connell will be punting from the Washington 20. It'll be his 5th punt of the day, and Leon Bright all alone on the Giant 25. We have 11:35 to the half, no score. A bounce, so it's a loose ball, but he gets it away. And Leon Bright fumbles, recovers, still on his feet, and he's drilled at the last minute by Darrell Grant.
I'm sure that snap, remember on the last punt, we saw Jeff Bostic was injured. And now we see out here, we're watching Manley again. Watch him, they just taking him on like he's a lineman. But watch the speed once he breaks by. See, now he's shoulder to shoulder, and he's in a foot race with him, Vin. And he's winning. He's winning the foot race, and he even gets his own guy right there. He'll get anyone, any color jersey.
Wasn't that something?
Yeah,
Holy man. Well, he's the guy they say runs it in 4.5.
Maybe he is 4.5. Again, on that, I'm still losing my monitor. I lost my monitor on that one.
Yeah.
And I don't have a monitor right now. Now I look at Vin's. I can stand up and go over there. What? What? Is that right? Holy moly.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. Stand by.
Green Bay on an 11-yard pass. Lynn Dickey to Gary Ellis, leading Atlanta in a shocker, 14-0 in the second quarter. The Giants have it 1st and 10 on their 22. That's Perkins in motion. Pitch back to Leon Bright. Got away from Kaufman and finally goes out of bounds almost the 29-yard line, brought out by Matt Mendenhall. But Kaufman had a shot at him, couldn't do it. And talking about shockers, how about New Orleans? Benny Ricardo has just kicked his 3rd field goal from 34 yards. New Orleans leading a dispirited Ram team 16-0. They have a mess in Anaheim, John.
I wonder if the Rams are having a lot of turnovers. It seems like every 2 minutes New Orleans is getting a new score. I bet there's some interceptions or fumbles in that game, man.
2nd and 3 on the Giant 28. Slot left. Second man. And that would be Taylor, making sure that he's going to hold on to the ball, and it would appear as if he might have made the first down. It's a question of the spot.
Of course, Taylor fumbled early in the game, and then he's been on the sideline. He's had plenty of time to think about it.
What do you do as a coach when a fella did what Taylor did in the closing seconds of the first half, fumbles the first time he gets the ball? Do you talk to him or do you leave him alone?
I would just leave him alone unless I knew that there was a reason for it. Did you see that first down statistic? the Giants are only averaging 1.4 yards on first down, and that's one of their big problems.
Well, they have the first down here on their own 33-yard line. And whistles and flags shall hold everything.
Now, that was a penalty before the snap, so probably someone on offense moved before the ball was snapped, and that's Tim Stokes, the new tackle.
False start offense, 74.
Well, as you were saying, John, it is so difficult, almost impossible, for a fella to learn a system as an offensive lineman, being with the club for 3 days.
Because he has to work as a group, and that's one of the types of things that happen, the starting count. Once they put that hand down, they can't move again.
1st and 15 on the Giants 28. Play action fake to Taylor. A wobbly pass to Bright, and he drops it. The poorly thrown ball, and there's a flag on the play. Carl Lorch is hurt, and Lorch came into this game with a bad neck.
I was talking to him yesterday, and he's been having a problem with the neck. As a matter of fact, he was taking treatment on it yesterday, and it may be one of those things that as he gets hit, it just goes out for a while and then is back shortly. He's quite a guy, Carl Lorch.
Offense, number 74.
Carl Lorch in 1979 picked up an interception and ran it for a touchdown against the Giants.
And Tim Stokes is having a long day. Ben, did you hear who that holding penalty was?
Yeah,
Tim
right.
Stokes. So he had the false start on one play and the holding on the next.
Well, now it's 1st and 24 on the 18-yard line. On a draw, they tried Billy Taylor, and he got maybe to the 20-yard line before he swallowed up Mel Kaufman, the first man to make contact with him, along with Neil Okowitz. 7 penalties in the first half. As a coach, ideally, of course, no penalties, but what can you accept from your team in penalties?
Well, of course, the biggest thing in penalties is you can accept as many as the other team has, and it's the difference between the two. If you have 10 and they have 10, that's no problem. If you have 10 and they have none, that's a big problem.
Sims with a problem, but he releases it, and he picks up his man, and this time it's Gary Shirk, the tight end, and he's dropped as he crossed the 30-yard line, but he has to get to just about the 34-yard line, and then to start back again. So it'll be 3rd and 11. Remember, the Giants started on the 22, and they've gone backwards.
Of course, that wasn't close to a first down,
No.
but in one way it's a big play in that you've captured some field position for your punt coverage and defense if you have to get to that.
3rd and 11 on the Giant 32. And out of the shotgun, that's Perkins in motion. Oh, did he get a lick? And the pass is no good. Intended for Johnny Perkins. Kevin Turner and Mike Clark put the pressure, and it was Clark who just about buried Sims.
I'll tell you, it was Clark, and again, it came in the same area. The Redskins ran a stunt, and Clark broke free up the middle. And the tough thing, now watch it, see Clark coming, and now just as Sims steps, he has to step right into it, and that's tough.
Here's the punt from Dave Jennings. And Mike Nelms will have to let it roll inside the 10 to the 6-yard line, and the Giants will down it. Larry Flowers down there to mark the ball.
And what do you think there is?
Don't tell me there's a flag on the play.
Yeah, there is.
Well,
every time they punt, there's a flag on the play. I don't think that we've had a punt. We probably have. We haven't had many punts without a flag in this game.
That, by the way, from Dave Jennings, 62 yards. And Mike Connell has kicked 5 for over 200 yards.
On the receiving team of illegal block below the waist.
That's one of the reasons, of course, that they do that. You know who that was? That was Mike Nelms. I'm sure it was the punt returner, because now we have a new rule on the punt return. You see that you can't block below the waist. Now watch Nelms right there. See, on the punt return, you can't block below the waist. And it was the punt returner that did it.
No score, 8:52 to the half.
Bob? Tony? Yeah, that's the way to listen. That's great. No, that's good. Yeah, well, good listening.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Bob,
Okay.
can your volume be lowered a little? Okay, that's better, yeah.
Let's try and get some line play in this thing. I'd like to get somewhere where, can you see who's in there at center? Is that still Bostic?
Let me see.
Why don't we get Neal in the center somewhere in here coming off this goal line? Well, Neal.
Yeah. Thank you, Brent. That answers a couple of questions on that Ram game. The Rams, of course, remember they cut Fred Dreyer only to find out that he had a no-cut contract, and the player they had to release is now with Washington, Mike Clark, and playing a great game.
He was just the fellow that put the pressure on Sims that last play.
Metcalf in motion to the right, and he'll try Riggins, and the Giants bring him down at about the 7-yard line.
We're having quite a battle in the middle. Bill Neal isn't there. We'll see Jim Burt. Now watch it in there. Bostic is back. The wrist is okay. Watch what a nose tackle 64 has to go through. Double team. You have to hang in there. He still played around it and made him cut back.
And Harry Carson finally was able to come in and stop the play. It is 2nd and 6 on the Giants 7. On the Washington 7, pardon. In motion is Monk. He's picked up by Curry. And it's the second man, and they just eat up Terry Metcalf at the 5-yard line. Byron Hunt, number 57, along with Curtis McGriff.
I wonder if Lawrence Taylor is injured because Byron Hunt is in there at that right linebacker spot. They tried to do the same thing. They tried to go inside and bounce outside. Hunt didn't go for it.
I just think it's the heat, John, because Lawrence is standing up and apparently fine on the Giant side of the field, wearing his helmet and ready to come in.
I'd have him in there.
3rd and 6 on the 7-yard line of Washington. No score. We have 7:34 to the half. Here goes Metcalf and grabbed from behind as he got out to about the 7-yard line. And Harry Carson was quick to get over there and join the fun.
One thing, you can take this either way. Neither team did well running last week. And, of course, they were playing against Philadelphia and Dallas. In this game, in the first half, neither team has run well. So you can take it that way, or you can say, these are both playing real strong defense today.
And, of course, neither team is really passing very well either. So 4th and 4 on the 8th. Connell from the end zone, averaging 40 yards a punt. Leon Bright standing on the Giant 45. It's a line drive, and it's going to hit on the 42. Fielded at midfield by Bright, and he's grabbed, and you know who grabbed him. You betcha, Dexter Manley.
Leon Bright's probably saying, will someone please block Manley and get him out of my face? I've seen too much in number 72 in this half.
It's probably on his T-shirt, and there's Dexter coming off the field. Huh? How many attempts has Sims made? 19?
How many total yards do both teams have on offense?
Bob, how many attempts? No, he can't. Really? It's 2 for 9?
Their best field position they've had yet.
Yeah.
Somewhere we ought to come up with a graphic of total offensive yards for both teams. It can't be much at all. No, I'm talking about a graphic, Bob.
10
Giants.
seconds. Stand by.
The Giants get their best field position of the day as they take over 1st and 10 on the Washington 47-yard line. Linebacker Monty Coleman is hurt with a bad shoulder. In motion is Ernest Gray. Sims with some time, going deep. No good. It was intended for Mike Freedy, and down there defending was Joe Lavender, the bird, flying high.
You know, last week the Giants, when they had their good field position early, they really didn't take a shot for the end zone. And this week they want to do that. They want to go for a deep one, try and get something. Of course, they're playing against Joe Lavender.
You know, they sent Mike Freedy down there. As you see, Buffalo leading Baltimore 7-0. Joe Ferguson to Joe Cribbs, a 33-yard pass. Tampa Bay, Kansas City tied up. Nick Lowry, a 20-yard field goal to get it even. 2nd and 10 on the 47 of Washington. No score. Leon Perry stacked up and fumbled. But I believe falling on the ball was Tim Stokes, number 74, I think.
Again, that's one of those things that is good and bad, Vin. Usually if a tackle, when you run towards him, is in a position to recover a fumble, that means he missed his block, and that's what happened on that play.
Well, for poor Stim, he's had a couple of penalties called against him. At least he came up with the leather.
He's had a long day. You know, maybe that racquetball club is sounding pretty good to him now, but in all due respect, it is tough after a few days.
3rd and 11 on the 48-yard line. I'm surprised he's even in position, in condition to play. Now, whoa!
He just moved again.
And Coy Bacon comes flying through. Let's see if they call Stokes for drawing Bacon off.
I would think that they would. Once an
False start,
offensive
74 offense.
Once an offensive lineman assumes that three-point stance, he can't move at all.
And I'm sure he sees Coy Bacon in his dreams, and he's almost flinching before the snap.
Right, and he used to practice against him. He knows
74
Coy.
offense, false start.
Oh, that's not fair, Ben. That's Ben Grace, the referee. You know, once is enough. You don't have to say twice.
Yeah, that's right. Stokes is saying, I don't need the publicity.
Yeah. They never say anything when it, they never say, geez, did you see that block Stokes made? They
He
never
didn't
do
say
that.
fumble recovery by Stokes. All right, 3rd and 16 on the 47. Sims going deep to Perkins. No good. Jarris White all over it. Perry Brooks came firing through, and he's a little tired. Sims looks okay, and Brooks looks worse for the wear. Watch number 69.
Sims looks a little tired to me, too, because he's really been taking a pounding in this first half. Not a lot of sacks, but right after he throws, did you see that? He just threw and boom, he got it. Jarris White in there defending is the 5th defensive back for the Redskins, and they were in that alignment.
Metcalf and Nelms are back at twin safeties at the 10-yard line. Jennings' last punt was a 60-yarder. Dave getting his protection. And that thing should go in the end zone. Yep. So Washington will put it in play. 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Dave Jennings, of course, did not want to kick it that far. He was trying to kick a poached egg inside the 10.
A poached egg or a pooch. He
Or a
was
pooch.
trying to punt a pooch, and his pooch just bounced. And when you punt a pooch, you don't want it to bounce.
Well, we'll see volleys and you
Pooches.
name it. Maybe a pooch with McEnroe and Board. United States Open Tennis Championships following the game.
I like that McEnroe. He's a scrapper. He gets in. He's a competitor.
Trying to win it for the 3rd straight time. Only Bill Tilden did that. 1st and 10 on the 20 for Washington. Theismann looking right. No good. It was intended for Metcalf. Kelly bumped Metcalf, and the crowd thought that Kelly had interfered with him.
Kelly's telling Metcalf, get up and go back to the huddle. I didn't interfere with you or anyone. You know, Kelly has really been a problem for Theismann. Have you noticed that he's either knocking the ball down or the receiver down? There's Don Breaux giving signals. He's the backfield coach and the left of Joe Gibbs. They have 2 of them. See, he has a coach. Joe's in the middle with the yellow shirt. Both the guys with the yellow hats give signals so you don't know who it is.
2nd and 10 on the 20-yard line. That's Metcalf in motion. Theismann looking left, and he's going to set that quick screen to Metcalf. And Metcalf is boxed in as he gets out across the 25-yard line. He has to get to the 30-yard line, however, for the 1st down.
That's one of the Redskins' favorite play. What it is, it's an option. they have the outside receiver run a pattern downfield. If the linebackers drop back to cover him, he throws a screen to Metcalf. If they come up tight, he throws the ball deep.
Theismann has a 3rd and 4. The ball on the Washington 26. Wilbur Jackson comes out and Clarence Harmon is back in there. So Harmon and Metcalf. Monk goes wide left. Ricky Thompson goes wide right. They haven't thrown the ball to him all day. Theismann in and out of the hands of Don Warren. He claims Van Pelt interfered with him. The crowd thinks Van Pelt interfered with him. Theismann thinks he interfered with him, and the officials say no.
Look at Theismann. He was the first one to see it. Now he's talking to the referee. He's trying to get someone to listen to him. No one will listen to him. Let's see if he did. Van Pelt was on the tight end. Now watch right here. I think maybe he did. I think maybe Theismann and Warren were right. Look at Joe Theismann. He's still upset about that.
So Leon Bright standing back on the Giant 30-yard line. Mike Connell will be punting. He's averaging 40 yards a punt. This would be his 6th punt. Mike Clark a wide out left and Dexter Manley the wide out right. They box Manley up. I think he's getting a little tired now. And Leon Bright at the 32 to the 40. And takes a head-on hit and a flag.
There it is.
Got at the 45-yard line. The head-on was by Rick Walker, a tight end, number 88. And let's see about the flag.
Right, a punt wouldn't be a punt without a flag, would it? You know the point that you were making about Manley.
On a receiving team, illegal block, number 52.
Now, Manley may be getting a little tired because these are 50-yard sprints, and you have 2 people on you the whole time. See him double inside out. He has to beat him, and they're like flies on him. He gets rid of one. There's the other one. Gets rid of him. There's another one, and they're still chasing him down the field.
Yeah, it would
be great. Of course, the ball went to the inside. His job is to keep them from getting outside.
If Dennis would change his name, it could be Courier and Ives. Framing him. So Leon Bright is going to be dragged down at the 20-yard line, and it was Tony Peters who came in to hammer him.
He came in to frame him. He was right up on the line. Peters was that time, and he looked like he may have even been on a safety blitz, or it was an awfully quick read. I've always liked Tony Peters. As I said, he was a corner at one time for the Cleveland Browns, and he was a good corner. And then when you move someone in like that to safety, then you have an extra cover man.
And Green Bay covering Atlanta 14-0 at halftime. In motion is Ernest Gray on a 2nd and 20 on the Giant 21. They try Leon Bright, and Bright is grabbed by Butts at the 20-yard line and will go down somewhere in that neighborhood with Perry Brooks all over him.
In the game plan of the Giants, this is what they were going to do. They wanted to play Leon Bright for the first time, and Ray Perkins was saying that they have some special plays for him. And it looks like the plan is to try and get him into the game and get him to the outside.
Leon Perry has had a strained knee. Leon Bright has had a strained quadricep. So Bright is a rookie and Perry a 2-year man. Look at that yardage now. 0.2 of a yard on first down.
And that creates 2nd and long and 3rd and long.
3rd and 20 on the Giant 21. Sims intended for Gray, broken up. And Lamar Parrish was the man who almost came up with it. Parrish has 45 career interceptions, so you know he's going to be around the ball.
Right, and he's still down on one knee on the 15-yard line. He's talking to Coy Bacon about it. He's telling him, look, I had it. I had it in my hands. Had I caught that one, it would have been a touchdown.
And he's also now paying the penalty. He's played 12 years in the NFL, and playing in 92-degree weather. He's got to be dragging a little bit with 2:58.
Barry Brooks is on the sideline leading the crowd in cheers for the defense.
Metcalf and Nelms awaiting to receive Dave Jennings' punt. Dave will be punting from his own 10-yard line. Got it away, and it's going to be fielded by Metcalf at the 40, and he fumbles and falls on the ball, and then Dennis fell on him. Why does a man fumble that much?
You know, I think that a lot of people say concentration, and they say they have the ball out and all those things. I don't believe any of those things. I think people that have small hands tend to fumble more than people with long hands and strong hands and fingers. I think Metcalf doesn't have those big bones in his wrist and those big hands.
Well, Terry is in there with the big man, John Riggins. Theismann asking quiet, and they boo him. 1st and 10 on the Washington 42. Joe to the left side, and he has Monk. And Monk is wrapped up by Haynes. And they'll spot the ball at the 45. That must be tough when you're the home quarterback asking for quiet and the crowd boos you.
The crowd boos you. You know, one thing, they have Russ Grimm back in there. Number 68 is back in at left guard. So what looked like maybe a serious knee injury, looks like he's okay.
That's good news. So it is 2nd and 7 on the Washington 45. 2:13 to the half. No score, which is a surprise. Monk goes right. Virgil Say goes left. And Riggins over the middle, and he's got Virgil Say, and he's inside the 30, dropped to the Giant 26-yard line. Say is only 5'7". They might have lost him in a crowd.
Right, and again, it's that same spot. See it from back here? If he can get the ball over or past those linebackers, there's big holes or gaps between the linebacker and the secondary, and Virgil Say found it that time. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Courier.
Courier?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, babe. 8 for 19. Gotcha.
Tony, on this drive, why don't we get a little more sideline? The two coaches with the yellow hats, along with Gibbs and, no, just not now, but let's get a little reaction maybe between the quarterback Theismann and Gibbs and the two coaches with the yellow hats.
Lawrence Taylor's back in there.
Yeah.
The preceding message was furnished by the National Football League. This is Vin Scully along with John Madden from RFK Stadium. 109th consecutive sellout. Temperature about 92 degrees, we're informed. And the players have to be anxiously thinking of the respite in the cool dressing room. They're about 2 minutes away from it. You might be interested, the Giant total offense, 20 yards passing, 20 yards rushing. The Redskins, 82 yards passing, 54 yards rushing, and the Redskins on a roll now. 1st and 10 on the Giant 26. Theismann with Riggins staying in to block. Flag on the play as he completes it to Art Monk. And Monk goes down at about the 13-yard line. And let's see about the penalty flag.
I think they'll bring that one back, Vin. I think that someone on the Redskin line moved before the ball was snapped, so that one won't count.
So that's the deepest penetration for either team, and it's going to be called back.
This has been that type of game offensively. It's been a great defensive contest, but offensively, it's a little frustrating in that
Offense number 81, illegal formation. 5 men in the backfield.
That would be Art Monk.
Art Monk was supposed to line up on the line as the wide receiver on the weak side, and he lined up off the line. You can only have 4 men in the backfield. You can have as many on the line of scrimmage, but only 4 in the backfield.
So it's 1st and 15 on the Giant 31-yard line. Virgil Say is back in there, the little guy on the right side. Harry Carson brings him down at midfield. The middle linebacker blitzed, and he ate up Theismann. They lost 19 yards on that blitz.
That was another thing that the Giants, the whole preseason, they really didn't blitz. And they felt that Bill Parcells, their defensive coordinator, said that we don't have a big pass rush. We're not going to get a big one. We lost Gary Jeter we're going to have to rely on our linebackers for pass rush, and we just saw it from Harry Carson.
And they're spotting the ball back on the Giant 46-yard line, even though Theismann eventually went down in midfield. We have 1:28 left to the half. No score. Don Warren in motion to the right. Theismann has Metcalf. And Metcalf is finally brought down just shy of the 35-yard line. Bill Neal, among others, hitting him.
And another penalty. It'll be holding against the Redskins. You know, the big thing about that Harry Carson sack was that he took the Redskins out of field goal position. They had a field goal where they were. The sack took them out. And, of course, the hold that we see is just adding 10 more yards.
So it was 2nd and 30. And the ball was on the Giant 46-yard line. Now it will go back.
Holding offense number 73.
That's rookie Mark May. How would you like to be the quarterback or coach and have to call this one? What is it, 2nd and 30?
40.
Oh, 2nd and 40.
2nd and 40. Any ideas?
No, that's when I always go get a drink of water at the bench, way in the back.
That's one time you can imagine it is silent in the huddle.
Silent in the huddle. It's silent on the sideline.
2nd and 40 on the Washington 44-yard line. Say is left. Monk in a slot inside Thompson right. Harmon and Riggins both release. So Theismann is on his own. And he gets Monk, but Monk is gotten by Kelly and is dropped down at about the 47-yard line of the Giants.
Well, Brian Kelly is a man that you don't hear a lot about. You know, you hear about Harry Carson, Brad Van Pelt, Lawrence Taylor, but the guy Brian Kelly, he's kind of the leader of that defense. He calls the signals, and he's really been a pain for Joe Theismann. Everywhere he throws, Brian Kelly seems to be there.
Yeah, Kelly missed 14 games last year. He's got bad knees. Apparently, he's sound enough to play now. He's 9 years at a Cal Lutheran. He was, among other things, a champion wrestler. That comes in handy as a linebacker. He was also a rugby player in college. He's quite a specimen at 6'3", 222 pounds. So one thing is for sure about the Giants. They're having their troubles. But when you want to talk about a bright spot, you immediately say Van Pelt and Kelly and Carson and Taylor. Say, friends, next week, CBS Sports Saturday brings you great racing. Pleasant Colony expected to continue the quest for Horse of the Year honors of the Marlboro Cup. You'll see the World Individual Speedway Motorcycle Championship from London. So be here for the action next week, 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central and Pacific on CBS Sports Saturday.
Right, and of course, then at halftime, we have Brent Musburger and the NFL Today that will tell us all about what's going on all over the nation.
A lot's going on, especially with Green Bay leading Atlanta at halftime and New Orleans thumping Los Angeles.
But Los Angeles, you know, they got upset last week by the Houston Oilers, and 2 upsets in a row would be tough to handle out there at this time, wouldn't it? It's tough to handle anytime.
Oh, and how?
They have their problem.
3rd and 31 on the Giant 47. Don't forget, after the football game, of course, McEnroe and Borg, the finals of the U.S. Open Championship. Theismann with the backs releasing, and they're going to eat him, and he's pulled down by George Martin. Flag on the play.
That'll be another holding penalty against the Redskins. I don't, of course, the Giants won't take it. They'll decline it to make it 4th down, so the holding penalty will be academic, but the officials will go through the motions here.
53 seconds to the half. A clip, personal foul against the Skin.
That's just a continuation of a hold. You add 5 more yards to it. Usually when that happens, when a defender gets by you and you see him going for your quarterback, you just
Personal
clip him or block
foul,
him from behind.
illegal chop block on number 53 on the offense.
So that was
Decline
Jeff
a penalty.
Bostic trying
That's
to pick
4th
up
down.
George Martin. And it'll be 4th down with 53 seconds. Leon Bright will come in and be the safety for New York. And Mike Connell, like Dave Jennings, a busy day kicking. And he'll be punting to Leon. 53 seconds to the half. No score. And it's a 4th and 40 from the Washington 44. Remember, Washington had a First and 15 on the 31. Completed a pass to the 12, but there was a penalty. And here goes Leon Bright. From the 19, down he goes. Otis Wanley, the former Giant. And there's a flag.
There's the flag. You have to have a flag on a punt. You can't punt or pooch without a flag.
Three things go together. First the snap, then the kick, then the flag.
And the flag. And you know who the flag was on? It was on where Manley was. You know, he was out there on that side, and it had something to do with him. It was either on him or against him. But it was thrown right at him as he was covering.
So they've done everything to Manley. Now they're throwing flags at him.
Well, they're throwing flags. The officials also have hats they can throw and bean bags.
As well as splitting infinitives and...
Come on, Ben, give it. Oh, he was all ready to give it to us, and then he has
Face
to give
mask?
some more information.
That's a personal foul, number 46 on a receiving team, grabbing a face mask when a ball was in the air, 5 yards from the ball.
All right, Ben has explained it. Mike Dennis, number 46, probably grabbed Dexter Manley and then had to hang on for dear life. Meanwhile, James Jacobs on a 29-yard field goal ties up the Houston-Cleveland game. Earlier, Tony Fritsch had kicked one to put Houston in front. We have 43 seconds left in the scoreless first half. First and 10 on the Giant 14-yard line.
They really had a bunch on Manley that time, didn't they? They were blocking him and butting him and grabbing his face mask and throwing flags at him. What is this league? Look at this one. Woo, Giants.
First and 10 on the Giant 14. Doug Coder. And they nail him behind the line of scrimmage, and it was Dave Butch, number 65. This was the spot last week when the Giants surrendered a fumble to Philadelphia, and the Eagles picked up a charitable 3, so they have to worry about that as the clock winds down.
And then they got the ball back. Remember, Phil Simms just laid down on the ball before the half, and the fans boo, and they've been talking about that all week. But, you know, they still have 85 yards to go. They aren't going to do it in a play.
Second and 10, we'll see if Phil goes down for the count now. No, he's going to give it to Coder. And Coder gets out across the 20. And the clock has run out. And so the first half, with a lot of booing at RFK Stadium, the Giants struggle, Washington struggles, no score. What a lot of nothing.
The Dole Bowl. Holy
Sit down.
mackerel. Dole.
Yes. Well, I would say one thing they said they're pretty much even. It's a stinker.
I think we're on things pretty well. They have all the stories.
Well, you know what we're doing? We're working our ass off. You know, I mean, at least we're giving them everything imaginable. Right? Oh, you bet. Gee. But I'll tell you, this is when you're glad you did your homework during the week. An incomplete pass. The most interesting thing in this half is watching that kid Manley try and go down on punts. I mean, that's really...
The two guys trying to block. Most interesting thing is the punch goes. And there's a penalty on every one.
Oh, my. Holy mackerel, is it, huh?
Talk again, Bob. Keep talking. Yeah. Okay, can you give us those stats now? Do we have time to look at them before again? Put them up. Yeah, just leave them there. Yards rushing. The only thing